Computer. So welcome everyone to our Connecting Networks meeting for instructor training classes, summer 2019 at Stanley Community College. One of the big things today that we're going to discuss is obviously all of the changes that you have heard about. Hopefully you see right now the Cisco routing and switching training page. Is everybody seeing that right now?
Yes.
Okay, a couple things. First off, yes, there is going to be a new CCNA. It is replacing the current CCNA. So that is number one. Number two, yes, CCENT is going away completely. After February 23rd, it will no longer exist. If you have a CCENT, it's unclear as to exactly what you're going to have on the 24th. More than likely what you're going to have is just a training badge, and that is it. So there's some things going on in terms of Cisco Learning with training badges, where if you complete a particular course, you'll get a badge. There's also obviously the certification. So there's additionally supposedly going to be badges from the Cisco Networking Academy. We strongly suggested to them last week at the North American meeting of ASCs and ITCs that they integrate their badging system with the badging system from Cisco Certification or Cisco Learning. It remains to be seen as to where that is going to go. Now, lots and lots of questions, I know that, but one of the things that is very important for you right now is if you are on the path to certification, or if you have your students on the path to certification, the best thing you could do for them is to get them to have their CCNA before February 24, 2019. That is basically on the 23rd of February 2019. That is the last day you can take any of the current CCNA exams, including data center, cloud, etc., except for, and I will tell you this, CyberOps. The word is, and we were told emphatically, that CCNA CyberOps will not be going away. The problem is they're trying to figure out kind of where it fits. So if you're teaching CyberOps or planning on teaching CyberOps, do not panic. It is not going away. Now, it does not give me warm fuzzies to see the fact that it is still listed as going away. So a couple things here. If you do go to CCNA, go to the routing and switching right now, or go to training certifications, you go to CCNA routing and switching, you've got the old exam under exams here. So you get ICMD 1 and 2, and you'll see the last date of test. Now, excuse me, 2020, not 2019, but February 23rd, 2020 is the last day to take any of the current tests for CCNA. The new CCNA is a single exam that is not going to have well, let's just look. I want to show it to you because we're going to discuss some things here about kind of what this is and what it means for us. So I'm going to certifications, and I'm going to CCNA routing and switching. They have really changed the entire certification program. So the new one goes live February 24, 2020, and you will notice that there's a single exam, okay? No prerequisites at all, and there's a single exam, 200-301. Now, here's what bothers me, and this is where they have not changed this yet, and again, it scares me. But you'll see here the new CCNA certification, you are going to basically lose if you're a CCNA data center, cloud, collaboration, any of these others, you will no longer be those specialties. Now, if you are a current CCNA, on February 24th, you will be given the new CCNA. So you're not going to have to retrain for that. If you have a CCENT, you notice here it says you have until the 23rd to use the current exam. Afterwards, you'll have to take the new exam. So it's, again, I don't no real reason as to why they did this other than they were wanting to bring in some other items into CCNA, and they supposedly did job task analysis and figured out that they needed to change it. They also, I think, felt the CCNA level had gotten bloated with all of these little different areas. So They just said, well, guess what? We'll blow all those away and we'll have one exam. Now, here's the thing I want to show you that I believe is going to be interesting. This new exam, 200-301. This new exam, when you look at the exam topics, first off, you'll see it's going to test your knowledge related to these 6 areas: network fundamentals, network access, IP connectivity, IP services, and then the security fundamentals and automation and programmability are some items that have been added in. But if we look at the exam topics, you're going to notice how reduced in vigor this new exam really is. Now, it is only going to have about 70% of the content that is currently on the CCNA. So in other words, 30% is clipped off the top in terms of actual content. So when we go looking, now let's look at our network fundamentals here. And you'll see, explain the role and function. And you'll also see a big change in many of the verbs related to the topics for the exam. In the old exam, we had a lot more configure, troubleshoot as the verb. But in this, you'll notice there's a great deal of explain, describe, compare, identify, but not a great deal of configure, okay? So you'll notice we've got, okay, explain what a router is, access point, a controller, so CCNA DNA center, which is, you know, these are somewhat new items, but it's not going to take a great deal to explain what DNA center and a wireless LAN controller is. Characteristics of network architectures, 2-tier, 3-tier, so core distribution access versus collapsed core designs. Different types of physical cabling, single mode, multi-mode fiber, Ethernet, media, so wired and wireless medias, PoE. Comparing TCP to UDP, all right. Configuring IPv4 addresses and subnames. So that's already one of the biggest things that we have in our current introduction class. In fact, you'll notice most of what's on this is already covered in Introduction to Networks. You know, here's IPv6, configure and verify IPv6 addresses. Compare the IPv6 address types. Describe wireless principles. Explain virtualization fundamentals. Describe switching concepts. So you'll notice right here in terms of network fundamentals, did you see anywhere where it says define, describe, or understand the OSI model? Or describe? No. The OSI model is not even mentioned, which blows my mind. Protocol, networking protocol stack models, not mentioned here, okay? But everything, if you look right here, everything in network fundamentals, except for maybe a little bit on the DNA center and wireless LAN controllers, and a little bit of the wireless, every bit of that's covered already in Introduction to Networks. Next item, network access. Configure and verify VLANs. Okay, that's routing, switching essentials, right? Configure and verify interswitch connectivity. That's routing, switching essentials. Layer 2 discovery protocols. Now, I will say this. We've got a couple labs on LLDP, but probably had to do a little more on LLDP for configuring. But it's actually configured in routing, switching essentials. Configure and verify ether channel. Okay, so we're going to do port channels. Describe the need. We're no longer configuring spanning tree. We're just describing the need and basic operation of rapid PBST+. Describe the need for root ports, root bridge, port states, port fast. Not configure, just describe. And then we've got some wireless stuff here, a little bit more wireless stuff, and go down through, we're looking at the wireless stuff. So there's 3 new items here, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 4, and 2.9. We're talking about some wireless components that will be new items that are added into the new curriculum. But so far, again, where's OSPF version 2? Where's, version 3? Where's configuring EIGRP? Where's all of that? Well, if you look down here in IP connectivity, you'd say, okay, we're going to interpret the components of a routing table. Once again, this is all routing, switching essentials. Determine how a router makes its forwarding decisions. Again, routing, switching essentials. Configure and verify IPv4 and 6 static routes. routing switching essentials. Configure and verify OSPF version 2. All right, cool. And describe the purpose of first hop redundancy. We're not configuring HSRP. We're describing the purpose. And that's it. So there's no OSPF version 3. There's no OSPF multi-area. There's no BGP. There's no EIGRP. All of that is gone. And then you've got configure and verify inside source NAT using static and pools. Okay, so you got to be able to do a static NAT and dynamic NAT with a pool and dynamic NAT with overload. Configure NTP operation. All right. Explain the role of DHCP. We're not configuring DHCP anymore. Explain SNMP. Explain or describe syslog. Now, here we are configuring and verifying a DHCP client and relay. So IP address DHCP on the interface, and then your IP helper address. There you go. Bingo, I just did that one. Configuring SSH. No big deal there. All right. Then we get in our security fundamentals. Now, this is a new section where we're looking at threats and vulnerabilities, which this is actually in the curriculum now. It's in the later part of the curriculum. It's actually in part of our curriculum that we're dealing with, especially when you get down here. Look, now you're describing remote access VPNs. You're not creating GRE tunnels anymore. You don't have to create a tunnel. It's not there. Now, layer 2 features such as DHCP snooping, port security, dynamic ARP inspection. We have not configured. I'm trying to think, do we configure DHCP snooping in 3 and scaling? I think we mention it, but we don't do it. But we definitely do port security, so that's nothing new. This will be new, the wireless LAN using PSA, WPSA2 or WPA2 with a pre-shared key with a GUI. And then last but not least, we've got some pretty simple items of how automation impacts the network, traditional networks versus controller, control plane and data plane data, or data planes, north-south versus northbound versus southbound APIs, and then on down through, looking at interpreting JSON encoded data, etc. So
this last one looks like it's more out of the Internet of Things course.
It is, and it's also out of those emerging emerging technology workshops.
I enrolled in one of those, and I couldn't get it to work, especially the JSON stuff.
Yeah. So it will work, but you have to do it exactly the way it says. And there's some areas in there where they don't really tell you about the authentication key to get it to talk correctly. So, but this is, I mean, honestly, we just went through it. Give me your opinion in terms of the level of complexity of this.
Well, when it's saying describe, hopefully they don't have a whole bunch of fill in the blank questions.
Yeah, I mean, they won't have fill in the blank. That's not going to be on the test.
Okay. So if
multiple choice and scenario questions. I mean, they may say your office is having problems with routing loops. What technology would allow you to prevent routing loops at layer 2?
Yeah. Okay. That's fine, because you got to it's yeah, to me, I'm good with that. I think to me, and I tell my students, the money is made in troubleshooting. And if they don't have a bunch of troubleshooting questions, the students aren't going to really focus on that.
Let's look right here. All right, everything in the first area, no troubleshooting, none, and none. So
I've seen some comments where some people are equating this to what CCENT was in terms of the new one. CCNA seems to be a bit lesser. But my concern or question is the jump to CCNP. I don't think they have watered that down in any way, have they? Is it now a greater jump from CCNA to CCNP, do you think?
Correct. Yep. I think the new CCNP, and I'll show you that in a second, is going to be like the college physics class. You all hit that college physics class where that was the weed class. where they decided to get rid of everybody who didn't really want to be in there. So I agree. Now, Basil, you made a good question about equipment. At this point, we don't know, but as they're rewriting the curriculum for this new CCNA, they have made a commitment to use the gear that we have on the list right now. So there's 4300s and 4200s. They're going to use that gear as much as possible for all of these and make it where we don't have to buy more gear. I honestly don't see anything on this list other than the wireless that the 42 and 4300. So, I would say we're probably going to have to buy a couple wireless access points maybe.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, and maybe have an optional wireless LAN controller we could purchase, a small wireless LAN controller. That was not mentioned whatsoever, but I'm just throwing it out there as something that you may want to do for your students, especially if you can get one cheap somewhere. But it's just, again, I think the complexity on the CCNA with this new one, the 200-301, has gone down substantially, even from the CSAN. I think the CSAN is more difficult than what this is. Now, having said that, have I taken this exam? No. It could be the worst thing that ever came out. At this point, from just looking at it, I just don't see it.
Now, at the professional level, are they going to change these certifications there?
Yes, definitely.
Or are they just going to go to a base CCNP?
No, what's going to happen is they're going to have 5 different, here they are down here. There's going to be, first off, I will tell you this. The Academy has committed to building a full set of classes or a class, depending on whatever is needed. They're committed to building a DevNet associate class. That's coming in the future. There's no timeline at this point, but that DevNet associate exam will be released on the 24th, and Cisco is working in the NetAcad program as fast as possible to get us classes for that. I do see that as actually a good thing for the Academy because it will let us hopefully expand the program more in the universities because it is focusing on programming more than just networking. At the professional level, the CCNP is going to become these 5 different items. CCNP Enterprise, which is most like our current CCNP route switch, CCNP Collaboration, CCNA Data Center, CCNP Data Center, CCNP Security, and Service Provider. Each one of these is going to consist of a core exam for that specialty, okay, and then a concentration exam that you can take based upon your interest and where you want to have your education to go. So, for instance, the core exam is going to be 300-401. That's the Enterprise Core Technologies exam. You'll see it's going to focus on dual stack IPv4 architectures, virtualization, network assurance, security automation, etc. You then will have the option of taking any of one of these other exams to get your full CCNP Enterprise. So if you do this one, the Advanced Routing and Services, that will make you, this probably is closest to the current routing CCNP route switch. But then you got SD-WAN, you got enterprise networks, you can do wireless. There's all different types of different exams you can take here. So let's take just a quick peek at the exam topics for the core exam. So here we see architecture, different principles, what is first hop redundancy, SSO, what is the Cisco's SD-WAN solutions, software-defined WANs, QoS items, how does Ceph work, the MAC address and TCAN, FIB versus RIB. We got a little bit of virtualization. I mean, not much, just a little bit. But notice here now we're configuring GRE and IPsec tunnels up at CCNP level where we were doing a GRE tunneling at CCNA earlier. Down in infrastructure is where you get the meat. So troubleshooting layer 2 trunks, troubleshooting ether channels, configuring RSTP and MST, comparing routing protocols, configuring OSPF, configure eBGP. Okay. Configuring NatPat, configuring HSRP and VRRP. In other words, it looks to me like a lot of what used to be in the CCNA is now here. And then a little bit, here's PIM, the IGMP stuff, which has always been a beast in CCNP. Network assurance, using tools, configuring NetFlow, flexible NetFlow, configuring SPAN, IPLSA. All of these are items that have been in CCNP for some time. I don't think NetConf and RESTConf have been, but those are new items added. And maybe they have, and I just hadn't, maybe that's why I haven't passed my CCNP route. Different types of security. This has all been part of, a good part of it has been part of CCNP for a while. REST API security, however, is not. And the last, even the CCNP core has a little bit of automation. So construct a valid JSON encoded file. Interpret basic Python. I think one of the big takeaways is for the past couple of years, you've been told that network administrators are going to have to become, at a minimum, able to read and look at and understand programming and scripting. Well, that time has come. You're not going to be able to pass the certification exams without knowing those items. So again, like you mentioned, with the IoT items, as the IoT items, go over a great deal of these, even IoT security, then we need to be able to know that those are items we're going to need to add in. And they will be added in.
So for us, we may need to start looking at requiring students to take programming classes if
or
they
least,
don't already.
Yeah,
I think we may have to, our guys may have to take a basic Python.
Intro to programming. We already have one in ours. We have an intro to programming class. I think we're going to have to change it for ours and put more scripting and Python in it. Again, it's there's a lot of debate as to what's going to happen with the CCNA. Honestly, I don't think there's enough curriculum, enough content in the CCNA for 4 classes. No telling what's going to happen there. It may be that we end up teaching the enterprise core as one of our main classes in our slot of 4. I don't know. There's a great deal of things up in the air. I will not lie to you. So it's going to be an interesting couple of months. The takeaways, however, is that as far as instructor training is going, all of you in connecting just finished connecting. And you will be grandfathered in to teach the new CCNA when it comes out. You've learned enough to just go over the extra little topics that are there and pass that, no problem. Students, if your students can in any way possible finish their CCNA by February 23rd, get it done, okay? If not, I honestly think as long as they've been taking our classes, they're going to be able to just add in a little bit of study and they're going to be able to pass the CCNA. I think, honestly, with the way the CCNA has been reduced in rigor so much, the way it looks like it's been reduced in rigor, I think we'll see more and more high school students in high schools being able to teach the entire CCNA and bringing to us students who already have that knowledge that we can then move on to other classes such as enterprise, CCNA cyber ops, maybe even just, enterprise wireless specialization class, something of that nature. So
yeah, with that, are you going to start teaching more classes or offering more classes? I know right now you guys basically do the 4 networking classes and then the a couple security classes. Are you going to be offering more?
Do you mean to our students or to
the instructors, for the students to be able to offer, or for
we're going to have to look and see. I'll give you a great example. I was going to actually teach a CCNA security class. By the way, the CCNA security curriculum is not going away inside of NetAcad. And if a student takes it and makes a 75 or higher on the final, they're going to get a training badge. So they will get a CCNA security training badge. So that class is still valid to teach. However, I was going to offer a CCNA security class for instructors in the fall. I'm not offering that class now. There's just no need for me to teach a class that particular certification is going away. I would much rather run 2 CCNA CyberOps classes. So
now the CyberOps, is that certification going away, or is that a training badge?
No, we have been insured that even though it says on the Cisco Learning page that it is going away, CCNA CyberOps is going away, we have been assured that it is not going away. Okay. Now, again, why is that not removed from their page? I don't know. But we have been assured that CyberOps is not going away, that it is going to continue. Again, they're just, I don't know, they've got to do something to help me with my fears on that one.
Right.
Trying to think of other items. So you kind of know where to go with your instructor training. You kind of know where to go with your student training. The goal right now is for all of the new classes to be out in November of 2019. So that, for instance, if you did teach someone in the fall of 2019, Routing Switching Essentials and Introduction to Networks, they could take the 3rd class, or if it's 2 classes, whatever it happens to be, they could take the next class that was the new class that had the materials they didn't know, and then go take their CCNA on February 24th. I know it's not ideal. There's nothing about this that was ideal. They did not do a good job at all.
Especially when they're rolling it out at the basically at the beginning of a college term.
Yeah.
Had they rolled this out, say June of next year, that would have given our students time to finish up their coursework, take the exam, and then be ready to go. With them rolling it out in February, that kind of hoses everybody.
Oh yeah. We have requested that the current CCNA be available through June. I would not in any way, shape, or form expect that to happen. We've requested it, even if it's just for Cisco Academy students. But again, I don't think there's any way and there's any chance that will be. There's just too much riding on these changes, so I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, too many moving parts.
Yeah, too many moving parts. Again, go ahead.
They didn't get the new classes out, not in November, but in August, so that we could have started on them from now.
Right.
That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're preaching to the choir.
But again, this thing we are concerned that we had the 4 modules teaching, but as you just said, will there be enough material to make up 4? We may end up with 2 or 3 modules now with the new classes.
Yep.
We may have to restructure a lot of our program.
Yep. And I cannot answer that question at this moment because I do not know myself. And I apologize for not giving any of you a heads up, but guess what? They did not give me any heads up whatsoever. I was as shocked as everyone else. I was sitting there at Cisco Live doing a lab when people started emailing me and calling me and going, "What's going on?" And I'm like, I ain't got a clue. So it was not handled very well by the Cisco Academy. I'll just leave it at that. All right. Any other questions on the certification stuff? And I know we're just scratching the surface, folks, but we got a lot. And as soon as I learn anything, I will get it to you and let you know.
No, I think I'm good right now. I mean, just this stuff's good to know. I'll have to talk to my boss because we're going to have to look and see, especially with the programming piece coming about, are we going to have our students do more programming so they understand it?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I do think right now, though, before you start going, and basically you were mentioning about changing your program, before you start going and making any drastic changes, just hold on, keep doing what you're doing. Can maintain what you're doing, maintain the classes you're teaching now, and let's get a little bit further in and see what's going to fall out before we start making any changes whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because it's just there's too many variables in the air right now for us to start changing things, and so we need to make sure we wait until we get everything laid out before we see what happens.
Okay, so maybe our first 2 modules, if we're going to start in September, say, maybe we should just go ahead with them. Maybe they'll be even teaching more material than needed.
Yes.
By the time January, February, that we may go to a 3rd module. By then, everything would be sorted out.
Right. Or even if it was, and again, if it's a 2 module, which we don't know, I have no clue. If it's 2 modules, then there'd still be all the material there that you could pull out to give someone a bridging type class starting in January. I tell you right now, if you teach Cisco 1 Introduction to Networks and Cisco 2 Routing Switching Essentials to your students in the fall, they have 70% of the material that's on the new CCNA. They also have 30% of material that is not on the CCNA, but is on really, quite honestly, on the Enterprise CCNP Core exam. So you're giving them more than they need, but that's never a bad thing.
No, but it also preps them for those that are actually interested in doing this. It gives them a better foundation for that CCNP certification.
Yep. Which I actually, like I said, I think when everything falls out of this and we all get settled in, it's going to really give us at the community college the opportunity maybe to go back to teaching more CCNP, because I believe the students are going to come to us as CCNAs, and then we're going to be teaching CCNP courses. The hope there is, and there's been no indication from Cisco whether or not they're going to do this, but the hope from Cisco is that they will then actually make the CCNP courses true courses, not just buy the book and here's the labs, which is what we've had with the CCNP courses to this point. So I'm hoping, I really do see some good things in these changes. There's never a good time to make the changes, but just the way the changes were rolled out to us and to you, there could have been some better management of that. Let's just put it that way. And trust me, I told them quite loudly last week that exact thing. So I think I'm now the black sheep of the Cisco Academy, because I pretty much told them that they had to do better. Be aware, tomorrow the new scope and sequence is released. It's basically they just took the exam topics and put them in a listing of where they appear already in the curriculum. And then what items that don't appear, that way you can kind of see that. So just take a look at that tomorrow. But it doesn't answer a bunch of questions.
Now with the DevNet associate certification, are you guys going to be offering instructor courses for that so we can look at expanding what we offer?
We do not have any information yet, but I promise you, if they create a DevNet associate set of classes or a class for us, we will do everything in our power to teach those instructor classes.
Okay.
So yes, we will definitely. And here's the DevNet associate, and here's the exam topics for it. We'll do everything we can.
Because I would like to do the Internet of Things as well.
Yeah. And so you can see here's all the different items that are in here. Construct a Python script that uses software, a Cisco SDK, given SDK documentation. Up here we've got use version control operations with Git to clone, add, remove, commit, push, pull, on down in here. I'll be quite honest with you. To teach this, I'm going to have to do a huge amount of learning myself.
Yeah.
Because this is not my forte. I'm a networking person. I'm not a not a programmer, but you know, I need it myself. So I don't mind learning. So as soon as they get it out to us, we will be working hard to get instructors up to snuff to be able to teach you. This may be something, especially with the first couple classes I teach in the ITC, that I may have to go out and find an instructor trainer qualified, you know, an ITQ trainer who already knows this stuff, who's going to be able to get us up and running faster than I can. So, you know, maybe something like, well, I've got Dan Abergetti teaching CCNA cyber ops, because Dan's super smart and knows a great deal about it. So he's doing cyber ops for me, and so I may pull in someone else depending on what happens. So,
Corey just made a good point about the IoT. He just mentioned, was there any talk about getting our academies more into the IoT thing to spread the word on that?
There was not. Be quite honest with you, it was hard to get anything in other than these changes. You know, like Corey said, there is a great deal of what's in the IoT courses that's part of the new items in CCNA and part of this new CCNA DevNet Associate. So there was very little discussion of that other than, you know, hey, there's that new IoT security class that's out. And did you notice that a great deal of these actually map to some of these new items that are on the new exams? So that was mentioned. So really, if you wanted to, you could go into those emerging technology workshops and in the IoT classes and start pulling out components that help to cover those new items that are in the new exams.
Okay, I know I briefly looked at some of the IoT things, and I think as it is, only one class or two of the 4 or 5 of them allowed you to self-enroll. I mean, even for us instructors who wanted to get into it,
right,
you would have to find out academy, some school which is offering it.
But with the Internet of Things course, the instructor course, there's only one academy that I found that taught it, and that's up in Indiana.
Yeah, we don't, there's not many to teach it. If we need some folks to teach it, I can actually teach the emerging workshop. Which one is it? The one on REST APIs. I can teach that one. If it's something we really need and you want, we'll try to get someone certified to teach those and get them out there, because my problem has been, quite honestly, limited bandwidth to be able to do these, the courses that we've been teaching. And maybe if there's only, say, 3 CCNA courses or 2 or whatever it ends up being, it'll open up some bandwidth where I can teach some other courses.
I just look at it as what topics are going to make my students more marketable when they get done. The Internet of Things, future-wise, there's a lot of industry here. There's a lot of manufacturing here. Those guys are going to the Internet of Things if they're not already there. If we're a community college, we're supposed to be producing students that move into the local industry to work. And if we're not doing what they need, we're doing them wrong. Agreed.
I will say, I think, other than reducing the rigor of the CCNA, which I think they've done, I believe that the changes are good. I think this is all stuff that someone going into networking now in an intro level or slightly above that, they need to know this stuff. There's no doubt. I mean, it's something that needs to be in the curriculum.
Well, they went through this about 5 years ago too, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. So really for 5 years, they've been telling you this stuff's coming, but this hasn't been something that they've been able to do. So.
Now, they're going to develop new courses and have new books and all that fun stuff for the new courses coming out in November, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I got to pay attention to that.
Let me back up there, Corey. The plan is to have the courses done by November. Whatever number there happens to be, done by November. I wouldn't put any faith in books being ready by November.
Okay.
I would say books. I have no clue, but I would say honestly no sooner than I would say late January, February.
Well, with that, I guess I'm not really going to have to worry about it too much. I'm a book guy. I need a physical book in front of me. I hate.
Yeah, I'm like you. I agree.
But for the students in my classes, as long as they have the multimedia stuff going,
Right.
We can rock and roll with that.
Right. I agree. I agree with you. I don't require books in my class anymore.
I don't either.
I recommend the CERT guide if they want it. And then a lot of times I do quote require that so they can purchase it if they need to. So, but I would not put any faith in the books being ready by November. That's just too much. There's too much time, publication time.
Right. But as long as they have the multimedia stuff, we're good for now.
Yeah.
It just when they come out, we'll have to get with the vendor and have them send us several
copies and all.
Yeah.
And I would say go ahead and get your students on DevNet. Make sure they've joined the DevNet through their Cisco Academy or through their Cisco NetAcad account. I do want to show you one thing here, kind of switching gears slightly. I want to make sure that you're aware of something that's coming up. It's going to be a change here. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second while I go find it. There's a pretty big change coming to the Cisco NetAcad site. There is a, try to open my, coming up in July, when we have our big maintenance, there is going to be a change to the way that you actually log into the Academy. That change is going to be, let me see if I can find it. Let me make it. Sorry, just a second here.
I did hear about a single sign-on and using your other account.
Yeah. It is single sign-on is what we're talking about. And I'm trying to find my slides that I have for it. I know I've got one, but I've got to find it. Let me open up PowerPoint. I'll be able to find it with that. Here it is. Bingo, found it. Took me long enough. All right, so let me share this real quickly and you'll be able to see it. Okay, so in coming up for the single sign-on, okay, we're going to have the following taking place. So if you have an existing Cisco Networking Academy account and you have no account on Cisco.com, after that July, I think it's July 15th, if I'm not mistaken, during that 48-hour period that we're going to be down, if you do not have an account on Cisco.com, but you do have a NetAcad account, a new account will be created for you on Cisco.com, and it will have the same password as your existing Networking Academy account. Okay? So that will be the situation for most of your students. Now, the second item here is where things are going to get a little bit weird, and we're going to have a lot of people having trouble logging in. If you have a Networking Academy account and you have a Cisco.com account, and they both have the same email address associated with them, after that maintenance, you're going to log in with the password from Cisco.com, not your NetAcad account. So it's imperative that everyone who has a Cisco.com account checks what emails associated with it and knows their password. Because after the maintenance, if you don't, you will not be able to log in because you're going to have to do it with the account information from your Cisco.com account, the password. Now, the maintenance, if you look at the maintenance, it is planned for Friday, July 12th, and it's going to make the site unavailable for 48 hours. So that's one of the longest downtimes I can remember in a while. And that is to move over to this single sign-on. So again, make sure if you've got a Cisco.com account and its email matches your netacad.com after the July 12th maintenance, so basically it would be on July the 15th, you will have to log in using the password from your Cisco.com and your netacad login name. Does that make sense to the two of you?
So basically, if you only have the Cisco Networking Academy, you're going to end up with 2 accounts, single sign-on.
Correct.
If you have a Network Academy and Cisco.com account with same email address, you're going to use a Cisco.com password.
Password, correct. And then if you have both a Cisco Netacad and a Cisco.com, but they have different email addresses, you're going to end up with 2 separate accounts.
Okay.
So you're going to have to log in. Technically, you say it's SSO, but it's really going to be, you're going to end up with 2 different accounts, and you're going to have to continue to use your existing password. And then down the road, if you change the password on one, it will change it on both. So we'll basically merge those passwords down the road. Quite honestly, I think the cleanest thing to do is to just know your Cisco.com password, make sure Cisco.com and netacad.com both have matching email addresses, and then realize on the 15th you've got to log in with your Cisco.com password.
Yeah, I don't think I have a Cisco.com account.
You probably do because you got netacad maintenance. Have you ever downloaded an iOS? If you have, you've got a Cisco.com account.
Let me jump on and see if I have that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. But if you've ever downloaded a Cisco iOS, then you've got to have a Cisco.com account.
Okay.
My thing is, I think I log in with there's a username or not necessarily an email address.
Well, it doesn't matter. There's an email address associated with that account.
Associated with it.
Going to the profile, correct?
I need to double check all of this to see what
exactly. You need to log into Cisco.com, go to your profile, and see what email address is associated with your Cisco.com account.
Yeah.
Well, I'm figuring this out now. I just if I do have it, then all right, I must have it because.
You just got to log in. You just logged in?
Yeah.
Yep. So now what you need to do is click on your name. I believe it's in the upper right, and go to your profile. And it will tell you what the email address is. And if that matches the one that's in netacad, you're going to use that password you just used to log in.
Let me see.
All
right.
All right, dog.
All right, I'm set.
All right, I know I have the same email address with both now that I'm looking.
Okay.
All right. I think it may be 2 separate passwords.
On the 15th of July, you will have to log in with your normal netacad name, but the password will be your Cisco.com password. Make sure you know it.
Yeah, I forgot what my Cisco.com password was, but I went and changed it, so now they're both the same anyway.
Okay, well then that's probably the way to, yeah. Then you don't have to worry about it too much.
No.
Yeah, that sounds like what I need to do. Try and change them if I get figure out what it is.
That's exactly what I would do. So that is something to be aware of for your students, because you know what worries me the most about this is taking place right at the end of the summer semester.
Yeah.
You have a great number of students who, for whatever reason, won't be able to log in on the 15th. So I'm actually going to do a little video on this and post it on my YouTube page and send it out on MailChimp. So, but y'all are the first people to get this information. Woohoo!
Yes.
Yay, you. Yep. And gentlemen, I didn't go over almost anything at all in the actual content of our class tonight, but I think you're probably okay in the class content. But if you have any questions, just send them to me and let me know. I am going to try to meet next week on probably Monday night. What is next week? No, I won't be meeting Monday night because Monday night's my birthday, and I like y'all and all, but I'm taking my birthday off. So, but we'll try to meet on Tuesday night again about the same time as this, about 5. So if you do have questions about content, or if you have any questions about our changes that are going on, just let me know, and I'll do my best to try to answer them. I'll be honest with you, I'm like you. There's a lot of things I just don't know, but everything I know that I can share with you, I will share with you. And
Okay.
so we'll do our best to keep you informed and make this as painless as possible for all of us. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Then I'm gonna stop the recording.